Good evening, Americans, and welcome to the Ed Show from New York. Conservatives are waging a nonstop propaganda campaign to protect Rush Limbaugh and smear Sandra Fluke. We'll rip the conservative tinfoil hats right off of that, and I'm talking a little bit about radio tonight. You're not going to want to miss it. It's the Ed Show. Let's get to work.
The Factor believes the Sandra Fluke contraception controversy was manufactured.
The conservative media has finally figured out how to spin the Sandra Fluke story. They're painting it as a grand conspiracy.
I can't prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. I think I will be able to. That this was run out of the White House.
Now's Terry O'Neill and women's activist Liz Winstead are here to destroy all the bogus theories. The new job numbers show 2 straight years of private sector job growth, but Republicans think it's bad news. Terry O'Sullivan of the Laborers International Union will weigh in.
Senator, I am honored to be chosen as your running mate.
And Sarah Palin is back. This time it's in HBO's new film, Game Change. Tonight, we're taking a look into the film with screenwriter Danny Strong.
We desperately need a game-changing pick. And none of these middle-aged white guys are game changers.
Good to have you with us tonight, folks. Thanks for watching. We'll bring you all of those stories in just a moment. But first, we're going to go live to the President of the United States speaking to supporters in Houston, Texas.
Gallon, and that saves American families about $8,000 at the pump. That's what change is. That happened because of you. Change is the fight we won to stop handing over $60 billion in taxpayer subsidies to banks in the student loan program, give that money directly to students, and as a consequence, millions of young people all across the country are getting help that they didn't have before. That happened because of you. Change. We've got TSU in the House. Change is the fact that for the first time in history, you don't have to hide who you love in order to serve the country you love. Don't ask, don't tell is over. And yes, change is health care reform that we passed after a century of trying. This is reform that makes sure that nobody in this country goes bankrupt just because they get sick. And already 2.5 million young people have health insurance today that did not have it before because this law lets them stay on their parents' plan. Because of this law, preventive care is now covered. And yes, that includes preventive care for women, checkups, mammograms, birth control. We fought for this because the top doctors, the medical experts in the country said this kind of preventive care saves women's lives. We fought for it because we know it saves money. It's a lot cheaper to prevent an illness than to treat one. So when you see politicians who are trying to take us back to the days when this care was more expensive and harder to get for women, and I know you're seeing some of that here in Texas, you just remember we can't let them get away with it. We fought for this change. We're going to protect this change. It's the right thing to do. And change is keeping another promise I made in 2008. For the first time in 9 years, we do not have any Americans who are fighting in Iraq. We refocused our efforts on the terrorists who actually attacked us on 9/11. And thanks to our brave men and women in uniform. And there are a lot of service members and a lot of veterans here in the great state of Texas. Al-Qaeda is weaker than it's ever been, and Osama bin Laden will never again walk the face of this earth. None of this has been easy. We've got a lot more work to do. There's still too many Americans out there looking for work. Still too many families struggling to pay the bills or make the mortgage. We're still recovering from the worst economic crisis of our generation or many generations. But over the past 2 years, businesses have added almost 4 million new jobs. Our manufacturers are creating jobs for the first time since the 1990s. Our economy steadily has been getting stronger. The recovery is accelerating. America is coming back. And the last thing we can afford to do is go back to the same policies that got us into this mess in the first place. Of course, that's exactly what the other folks running for this office want us to do. They think y'all have amnesia. They think you've forgotten how we got into this mess. They want to go back to the days when Wall Street played by its own rules. They want to go back to the days when insurance companies could deny you coverage or jack up your premiums without any reason. They want to go back to spending trillions of dollars more on tax breaks for the wealthiest individuals, folks like me, even if it means adding to the deficit or gutting education or gutting investments in clean energy or gutting Medicare. Their philosophy is simple. We're better off when everybody's left to fend for themselves. Let me tell you something. They are wrong. In the United States of America, we're always greater together than we are on our own. We're better off when we keep that basic American promise where if you work hard, you can do well enough to raise a family or own a home. Start your own business. Send your kids to college. Put a little away for retirement. Maybe someday own the Astros. That's the choice we face in this election. Look, we want everybody to succeed. We want everybody to do well. Not just a few, but everybody to have that chance. That's what America's about. No matter where you come from, no matter what you look like. If you are willing to work hard, if you're willing to roll up your sleeves, you can make it. That's the American way. And this is not just another political debate. This is the defining issue of our times. This is a make or break moment for middle-class families and everybody who's trying to get into the middle class. I mean, we can go back to an economy that's built on outsourcing and bad debt and phony financial profits, or we can fight for an economy that's built to last. And that's what we've been talking about for the last 3 years. An economy built on American manufacturing and American energy and the skills that American workers need, the education that our kids deserve, and the values that always made this country great: hard work and fair play and shared responsibility. Everybody, from top to bottom, everybody pitching in. And you know what? That's actually what everybody wants to do. When you hear some of these political debates, poor people, they want to work hard. They want to find a job. Wealthy people, they believe in this country. They want to give back. But we've gotten into this pattern where our politics divides us and pushes us apart. We need to make sure that the next generation of manufacturing takes root not in Asia, not in Europe, but right here. In Detroit and Pittsburgh and Cleveland and Houston. We don't want to be a nation. Nobody should want us to be a nation known for just buying and consuming things. We want to build things, make things, invent things, sell things all around the world, which is why we need to stop giving tax breaks to businesses that ship jobs overseas. Let's reward companies that are creating jobs right here in the United States of America. We've got to make our schools the envy of the world. And that starts with the men and women in front of the classroom. You know, an interesting statistic. A great teacher can increase the lifetime incomes of a classroom by over $250,000. Just one teacher. So I don't want folks bashing teachers. I don't want folks defending the status quo. I want us to give the schools the resources they need to recruit and keep good teachers on the job. to reward the best ones. Let's grant schools the flexibility to teach with creativity and passion. Stop teaching to the test. Replace teachers. Train our teachers, and those who aren't helping our kids learn, we're going to have to replace. And when kids do graduate, the most daunting challenge is affording the cost of college. Right now, Americans owe more in tuition debt than credit card debt. So this Congress, and I know these members of Congress agree with me here, we've got to stop the interest rates on student loans from doubling in July.
President Obama speaking live in Houston, Texas tonight. It's pretty interesting to see it unfold. We see other politicians on the other side having a hard time speaking in some portions of the country. President goes down there in Houston, Texas, just as smooth as can be, telling it like it is.